Why was a horse-breeding tribe able to unify all of China? Imagine you are the chieftain of a tribe, surrounded by 6 great kingdoms. One has vast territory, another boasts elite soldiers, a third excels at mounted archery and produces legendary generals, a fourth has an advanced military industry, a fifth is a commercial empire and cultural center, and the last is an old royal house of noble bloodline. Only you are utterly insignificant, granted a barren patch of land in the northwest solely because your ancestors bred horses for the emperor. Your neighbors all regard you as a barbarian, and you are never even invited to the grand assemblies of the Allied States. So how could you possibly survive among so many powerful nations? And how could you ever defeat your neighbors and unify the entire land? Today, we tell you the story of that impoverished tribe, Qin, and how it ultimately unified the whole continent. We all know Qin is a Chinese dynasty and also the origin of China's English name. But what you may not know is that Qin began as nothing more than a horse-breeding tribe. The era Qin lived in was an age of warring kingdoms. 7 states contested the continent: Qi, Chu, Yan, Zhao, Han, Wei, and our protagonist today, Qin. Now, memorizing all 7 names is obviously not easy, but don't worry, you can skip those details. What we want to explain is why nations rise and fall, not throw a bunch of hard-to-remember terms at you. In future videos, we will slowly, in vivid language, introduce each kingdom's unique character one by one. For today, you only need to remember this. Among the 7 states, Qin was the least favored, the most backward of them all. So why did Qin ultimately defeat every other kingdom? Because of determination, courage, the willingness to sacrifice, and the insight into human nature. Qin's neighbors, of course, each had their own advantages. They looked like giants, overwhelmingly powerful, and seemingly invincible. But Qin still keenly identified their weaknesses. At that time, every important government post was monopolized by the aristocracy. They were extravagant and incompetent, maintaining swarms of wandering swordsmen and retainers, controlling vast resources and populations. They meddled in state affairs, not only swaying the ruler's decisions, but also engaging in vicious infighting among themselves, draining national strength while blocking every path for common people to rise in status. Their advanced civilization and comfortable, prosperous lives eroded their will to fight. War had become little more than a game among nobles. The decadence of the aristocracy, the softness of the people, the rot of the institutions, Qin saw it all. This hungry wolf of the Northwest began sharpening its fangs, fixing its cold blue gaze on 6 bloated and fragile giants. At last, Qin's moment arrived in the form of a man. His name was Shang Yang. Shang Yang was originally a minor official in another state, one with a thin thread of royal blood, whose family had long since fallen into ruin. Noble yet destitute, talented yet poor, this made him desperately crave the chance to shatter the old hierarchy of bloodlines through real, undeniable achievement, and to build an entirely new order where rank was determined by merit. And Qin, too, longed to become something different from the other states, wealthier, fiercer. And so, a frustrated, overlooked man met an ambitious king. From cautious probing, they progressed to all-night conversations. Their meeting changed the history of Qin and of all China. Shang Yang told the king of Qin, "If you want soldiers willing to fight to the death, you must offer them status and honor." So he abolished the hereditary privileges of the nobility and gave every citizen of Qin the chance to become a noble. While the other 6 kingdoms were choked by aristocrats who held every office and ensured that ordinary people could never get ahead, Shang Yang gave everyone in Qin something to hope for. Titles of nobility would no longer pass through blood. They would no longer be the exclusive privilege of the few. There was only one way to earn a title: military merit. Want to become a noble? Then bring back the heads of your enemies. Land, office, glory, everything you desire, lies on the battlefield. Under Shang Yang's system, every person staked their life on the battlefield, gambling on the chance to transform their fate. And war demands grain, so he suppressed every activity unrelated to farming and fighting, while other states indulged in elegant music and dance. While scholars traveled the land lecturing, merchants roamed in search of opportunity, and nobles feasted and drank with their guests, Shang Yang banned everything that had nothing to do with growing food. He forbade the people from engaging in commerce. He did not want people to think, to travel, or to seek pleasure. They could only farm to supply the grain for the nation's expansion. Finally, he enacted the harshest laws. He bound you and your neighbors into a single unit. If anyone on your street broke the law and the 5 neighboring households failed to report it, all 5 households would be executed. But an informer would receive a reward equal to killing an enemy in battle. And so, your neighbor became the best policeman and spy. Every person on the street watched everyone else's every word and deed and was watched in return. At the same time, the laws were made extraordinarily severe. His aim was to deter crime entirely, thereby drastically reducing the cost of governing. What Shang Yang set out to do was turn the entire state into one enormous military camp. And it must be admitted, this brutal system produced a terrifying fighting force. While other states still relied on their decaying aristocracies to govern, the people of Qin stood ready at every moment to kill the enemy and earn their glory. And so, every person on the street was a soldier, and every soldier hungered for war. They were tenacious, fanatical, unafraid of death. They were efficient, strong, and disciplined. Qin held to this path through 6 successive kings, 6 generations, each one expanding, each one conquering, each one making this war machine more powerful, until the 6th. Ying Zhang, a figure unprecedented and unmatched in Chinese history to this day, debates about him still rage across the Chinese internet. He ascended the throne at 13. He assumed personal rule at 22. Then, he launched the final war of unification. From 230 BC to 221 BC, in just 10 years, this super war machine, bound together by merit, law, and fear, roared forward and crushed the other 6 kingdoms. Qin the state became Qin the dynasty. It unified the entire known civilized world of its time. Looking across world history, only 4 empires achieved something comparable: Alexander the Great, the Roman Empire, the Mongol Empire, and the Qin Empire. They all put into fierce practice Caesar's famous declaration, "I came, I saw, I conquered." But as we all know, the Roman Empire eventually fell apart, and the Mongol Empire dissolved into nothing. Only the Qin Empire's territory not only did not shrink or fracture through history, it actually grew larger and stronger under its successors, all the way to modern China, which still retains such vast territory. Why is that? In our next episode, we will tell you what the Qin dynasty did to avoid fragmenting the way Europe did. If there is anything you'd like to know about Chinese history, feel free to leave us a comment. See you next time.